everyone, and welcome to episode 7 of the Being Youthful podcast. I am Kim Beegler. I am the owner of Ewethful Fiber Farm Mill, and I'm out here in Halsey, Oregon. And I'm at the mill today. Usually I am when I do the podcast. And so here we are. A couple places you can find us. All of this is in the show notes, but our website is ewethfulfiberfarm.com. I am on Instagram at Being Youthful Podcast and at Ewethful Fiber Mill. So there's 2 places to catch us there on Instagram. On Facebook, we're at Ewethful Fiber Farm and Mill. I also have a blog that is beingyouthful.com. And you can find us on Ravelry in a group, but you might not find me being super active. So, but I'm trying. I really am. So anyway, welcome back. Welcome to episode 7. And it seems like it's been forever since I've been here. So what has happened in 2 weeks? It seems like a lot. So Mitch and I took a quick trip up to Portland. We still own the property up there that my old business was on, and so we went up so Mitch could do some maintenance on it and I could run a few errands in town and just get away from the farm for a night. Not have any animals to take care of for a night, which is kind of its own fun thing, right? So after I left Portland, of course the truck is going to pull up, so hopefully it won't make too many crazy sounds. After I left Portland, I went south a little bit to ZZ Alpacas, which is owned by Dave and his wife Sue Zandberg. I'm not sure if that's her last name, so if it's not, I apologize. But they basically kind of live between us and Portland. And so I went down there to buy some alpaca fiber and to visit Dave. Without fiber festivals and the such, I haven't seen a lot of the people. None of us have seen anybody, right? But I haven't seen Dave in a couple of years because last time I saw him probably was at Oregon Flock and Fiber in 2019. So it was super fun. I'm going to talk about that towards the end and show you around his place a little bit and his carding machine. So that was fun. And then pretty much right after that, I had dental surgery last week. I am getting an implant done on a tooth that I had pulled, it seems like forever ago. I think it was maybe 6 months ago. They put the first stage of the dental implant was done last week, and I've been lucky enough to not have surgeries in my life. I've had my wisdom teeth pulled, but other than that, this was the first surgery that I have had, and I really thought I'd be like back at work the next day, and turns out that didn't happen. But everything went well, and hopefully we'll have a recheck in a week, and everything will be recovered or will be healing up well. And it's still like 4 more months till I get a tooth back. So, okay, moving onward. So I'm going to start with stuff has been going on at the mill, even though I was down for a bit, and I ended up doing more skirting and stuff at home. I wasn't feeling 100% focused because I think my body was focused on some other stuff after the surgery. So I didn't want to be handling the machines because they are dangerous, and I didn't want to not be on my A game while handling machines. So I was at home skirting wool, working on computer stuff, doing all that stuff. But I did do some work before I went in for surgery, and I did do some work after I went in for surgery before I'm doing this. So I am going to show you a little bit of what I was doing before, I think, which is in the last episode, I showed you some Romeldale lock that I was doing for just a lock of it that I was doing for a client. So we couldn't get it to yarn, which is what she had wanted because unfortunately the staple length was just too long for my machines. So I ended up just doing it to roving for her, but I did hand pick it, which means it didn't go through my picking machine. I did it by hand, and then I kind of showed you, I have a little clip of me feeding it onto the carder, and you can see how it came out. So I'm going to share that with you, and then I think I'll go straight into what's happening at the mill right now, or at least as of a day ago or so. So I will be back in just a few minutes after you kind of see what I've been working on. Okay, enjoy. Okay guys, I'm here picking out wool, and I'm just going to show you. So this is what I have picked out by hand. Velma says hi too. She's over there in the corner. And I have just a little bit left that I have not picked out. And you might not be able to tell the difference, but it is really like, this is a lot more open than this is. So all I'm doing when I say hand picking is I'm literally just trying to open up the fiber. Let's see if I can do it towards you guys. I'm even more even than that. So there's these dense bits, and I'm literally just, and this one is a good example. If I ran this through my picking machine, you can see it's kind of got a knot in it there, and I think there's some second cuts. There's a little, you can see there's a big chunk, and that was probably some second cuts, some shortcuts that got caught up in there. So just like I'm just opening up the fiber, sorry, I'm talking, but dense, less dense as I open it up. So that's all I'm doing when I'm hand picking fiber. And you can see this is pretty long, as it doesn't really want to separate super easily. So I'm just trying to out, out, out. So that is picking wool. And the reason I'm doing this is because it makes the carder's job easier. You always pick before you throw something on the carder. And the other reason I'm doing this with this wool is because it's so long, and it is a fine wool, so it's not quite as strong. And so just like hair, I'll lift you up so you can see me now. So just like hair that is fine and long, it likes to tangle up a bit. So me hand picking it allows it's a lot more gentle than if I was running it through my machine picker, which is metal teeth, versus my nice soft gentle hands. So I generally don't do this a lot, but it was a small batch, and it's for a customer, and you know, the long and the soft fiber just needed a little extra care. So I'm going to pause you, and I'll go show you what I'm doing on the carder just to make sure this fiber is running at its absolute best. Okay, so we're back here at the carder now, and this is actually a little bit that I had carded up before, but this is basically our stuff that we are finishing up carding. It's picked. Here it is on the scale. You can see it's about 2.4. And generally, if I'm running a heavier, or I shouldn't say heavier, coarser wool than this, I can run up to 5 ounces per feed at a time. But because this is a finer wool and a little bit more delicate, I am running it lighter, like half the amount lighter, so that the carder can do its best job possible. And I've got it over here on the carder, and I'm going to show you a little video of me loading up the carder and then let you see it coming out the other end. Okay, time for what's going on at the mill. So I'm in the back. I'm going to flip you around and let you see what's going on here. We got all sorts of stuff going on. So we'll start in the back. And as always, it looks like a mess, but it's actually fairly organized back here. So, washer. We have got, there's some alpaca that has been skirted, tumbled, and now it is washed, and it is waiting for the dryer, because I'm about to pull some wool out of the dryer. So let's go check out the dryer. There's Nigel. They were desperate to come. Velma's going to peek around in a minute. There she is. And then they get here and it's so boring. So we have got on the drying rack some Romney. So the next batch of yarn that I'm going to do is our Halsey yarn, which I haven't talked about on the podcast, but it's one of our signatures, and it is Romney wool, alpaca, and silk. So this is Romney wool. You can see those lovely crimp, and so that's what's going on. So that's about to come off out of the drying rack so that the alpaca can make its way on. And then over here, since I was out most of last week, I've been like so excited to do this. So this is our Shetlands, Drilla and Taraji, and alpaca. That's the alpaca, and it's going into the picker. You can see I'm just about done picking back here. Taraji, Drilla, both of them are pregnant right now, so we're excited to see what they bring, if they bring. So here is out of the picker, and you can kind of see the alpaca layered in there. So it's all blended up there, and this is a 75-25 of Shetland versus alpaca. And there it is out of the picker, ready for the carder. And we'll scooch over. And here it is on the carder. And of course, I don't have much light back here, but there it is on the carder, ready to go in. I'm so having fun with this. This is actually the first time I'm making these two girls into yarn. No, that's not true. I have made Drilla into yarn by herself, but I don't think I ever did Taraji because it's very dependent on her fleece since she grows pretty long, pretty quickly. So there it is. And I'll turn this on so you can see it coming out. But there is our end roving, and you can see it's got the alpaca going through, and Taraji has some of that light kind of fawny brown color on her, so it's that color being added in with the black alpaca is just adding to her natural color. Remember, obviously between the two of them there's a fair amount of blacks and grays too. So just a sec and I'll get her turned on for you, and you can see it coming out. And of course this will go to the draw frame next before it goes to the spinner. Let's just see if you can see it coming off here. Okay, that's what's going on at the mill today. Exciting stuff. Happy to be back. Okay, I hope that was fun to watch. And I just got an email from the client who I did that Romeldale for, and she thought it turned out stunning. So that's exciting. And she also got some of my yarn, and she was very excited about that. So thank you, client. I think you watch and you know who you are, and I'm glad you're happy with your product. And so in that video, you also saw that I was working on some Shetland alpaca yarn, which I have hand spun a lot of my Shetland alpaca, but I haven't processed it into yarn before. So this is a first, and so I thought I would show you that real quick. So this is what was on the carder in that video. Let's see if I can get it. And it basically turned out, it's like a really beautiful grayish brown color because of some of the lighter fawn that is in, sorry, my camera is bouncing back and forth, is in Taraji's fleece, plus I put in some of that lighter alpaca in there. So I love it, and this is it before I have it skeined. The drape of it, just that little 25% alpaca is going to give it a bit more of a heavier drape than the Shetland, which would bounce back a lot faster. This has more of a hang to it. So it's going to be really nice it's going to be really nice for anything. And this will be up in the online shop, and I believe that it is next to Skin Soft. I'm actually wearing Shetland right now from my Shetlands that is double coated, and I can wear it next to Skin. So this has an extra 25% alpaca, and it was lovely alpaca, making it nice. You can see some of those little hairs sticking out. This is from Drilla and Taraji, my double coated Shetlands, who are both pregnant right now. We're very excited. And so there is little bits of hair coming out that you can see. I don't find them scratchy. If you're super susceptible to itch, then you might, but I don't know. I think it's great. And it's gonna have a really lovely drape. So if you're looking at a sweater that has a drape that you wanna emphasize, or a shawl, or really it's gonna be good for just about anything. And this is a 2-ply, meaning there was a single yarn that I spun and a single yarn, and I put them together. So it's not gonna be as heavy as if I had done a 3-ply. And I guess we should talk about that at some point. I think I have talked about that to some extent, but yeah. So there's that yarn, Shetland alpaca. It will be in the website. This is the natural color of it. Woo! Guys, there's not a ton of it, so if you like it, buy what you want now, because I cannot repeat this exact thing again. So, okay, there's that. Knitting, onto my knitting. So, I don't have a finished object, and I warned last week that I probably wouldn't, but I can show you what I'm working on here. My one project that I have been kind of focused on, and I will say my hat that I was working on, it is not done. Okay, so here is where I'm at, but I have made solid progress on this vest that I'm working on. You can see, so this is Shetland alpaca. Can you see I have a theme of things that I love? And you can see it's going through different colors. It's just how the roving was and how the fiber blended and how I hand spun it up. And I'm not trying to fix that because I think it's pretty. So basically I'm working on a front panel right here. The other front panel is on stitch markers over here. And then I'm working up towards the shoulder here. I love it. Can't say enough about the yarn. I did hand spin, but you can basically get now the same yarn right here. And you can tell in my sweater, it has such a nice drape to it. It just is absolutely perfect for this pattern. And this pattern is a Brookdale vest by Elizabeth Smith. And I think it's supposed to be a worsted yarn. So this yarn actually would work to do this vest. Pretty sure it calls for worsted. It's always touch and go with my with my hand spun, but I did swatch. So I'm having so much fun, and the yarn, oh my gosh, it's just the same as that. You just want to like lay in it, and it's so just natural and still has so much personality to it. So that's what I'm working on. Maybe I'll have this done in 2 weeks or so. We'll see. And shame on me for not having that hat done for my father-in-law. I mean, it's almost spring. Who needs a beanie now? Just kidding. Hand spinning. So that was quick, right? My knitting was quick, but I have kind of been focused on that. So, because I'm having so much fun knitting it. And I think it was, I don't know, you'd have to look at the pattern. It was not a ton of yarn. So anyway, if you love that other yarn I just made, there's an idea for it. Hand spinning. Shame on me again for my hand spinning, but I will show you. So I still have this bobbin that I have not plied yet, but I will. I have a new one, and this one's gonna be perfect for doing a chain plying video for you guys for next time. How fun is that? So this is outside my wheelhouse to do this, but this is Shetland and Shetland that I had hand dyed up a long time ago. Most of the roving was sold, but I had just little bits, so I thought I'm gonna do this. And then this, I think is Corriedale. I'm not sure. So I'm going to chain ply it, and it'll be a great example for you guys because I want the colors to stay. I want the pink to stay with the pink and the yellow to stay with the yellow, etc. So for next time I will have that. See, but I did spin this in the meantime, and I'm gonna chain ply this one, and it's gonna go up for sale with its friend, and probably this one will too. So that's all my hand spinning. I apologize, but next time I'm gonna have that video for you guys. And a couple other things I was gonna show you in the hand spinning world, because one thing I talked about in the last podcast, this Shetland alpaca, which would, if you're a hand spinner, yield you just about this. Maybe, it just depends on the ball. Some of them are a little lighter and some are darker. So this is, I think I have it up on the website as like bargain fiber because it does have a little extra VM in it and it's got a little bit of pilling to it. So after the last podcast, I did my Shetland Andy and alpaca. So you can see Andy is quite a bit smoother than this one. Both of them, when spun up, so they're the same content of fiber, Shetland and alpaca. This is from a different Shetland farm. This is from mine. There's still some Andy left, and I don't know why. There's still some discount left, and I don't know why. So if you were thinking about it, get on there quick, or if you didn't see that Andy went up, I would definitely grab some of him if you like it. But you can see the difference. Andy's fiber just processed out better for me, but they're still both gonna make, so if you want a discount, go for this one. And it's gonna be just a smidge more work, but it's still gonna spin up perfectly. Not perfect, but beautifully. And then Andy is, I don't even know, stunning. Okay, so there's that. Other thing I was gonna talk about in hand spinning was our fiber club last month, which everybody should have it by now, but if you haven't gotten your fiber club, our subscription club, then you should stop now unless you want to know what's going on with it. Okay, so last month's fiber club was Borderdale, which I have not worked with before, and it's not super common. So I only had one fleece, which meant I had to just get it out to fiber club, and that's all. Word on the street is there may be some more coming from this year I got it from, so we're hoping. But Borderdale is a cross of Border Leicester and Corriedale wool. So you get from Border Leicester, you're gonna get a really nice luster, and from the Corriedale, it's gonna add just a little bit extra softness to it. This is literally what I have left, 1.8 ounces. And I might do a giveaway with this and something else because it's fun. So I just wanted to show you the staple length, so we could just say, let's talk a little bit about how different these are. So here is the Borderdale locks. So pretty. Oh my gosh, I just had so much fun with this fleece. And usually I try to give, you know, close to 4 ounces in fiber club. They didn't get that this month because, like I said, there was only one fleece, and it was just special enough. I didn't even get to spin it. I spun like a tiny sample of it. But so this is the Borderdale. So it has a nice luster to it, which I don't think it's catching the light as well as it should, but it's got a stunning crimp to it, which is Borderdale, or Border Leicester and Corriedale both have, and it has a really nice length to it. It's just really pretty, and I think it's next to skin, soft. My fiber club people will be able to tell me. So I thought I would show you it versus my Shetland. So the single coated, here's my tips, single coated Shetland versus Borderdale. So different. And one of my friends I was emailing with, and she was like, I love that you're talking about the different breeds, because wool is not generic. Wool is not generic. Wool is not generic. That like stuck with me. I'm like, again, why necessarily would you know if you are going to the yarn store and buying yarn and a lot of it's going to be similar? Again, I don't want to sound like I know everything about wool, because I most definitely do not, and I am learning constantly, and I'm just trying to share that knowledge with you. And I knew nothing about wool. I wouldn't even think, you know, I knew yarn before I started all of this. So I'm just trying to kind of share stuff with you guys, but wool is so not generic. It's not like if you're just buying merino or superwash merino or superwash anything. Superwash is like its own day conversation. You're not getting the full extent of what wool is, in my opinion, right? The more you can work with different breeds in yarn or in hand spinning, the better. So, plus you're supporting all the people that grow it, right? So anyway, there is Borderdale. There's just a tiny bit left. Like I said, I might do a giveaway, so stay tuned. And then I thought I would just show you what the gift was that was with it, because, so this is, how cute is that? It just can clip to your bag or wherever you want it to clip to, and this is made by Katrinkles. She does a lot of stitch markers and tools and things like that, and it's just a little wood, and then your stitch markers can just slide on there and they don't just like go flying everywhere, right? And then what's on it, and she just calls it a stitch marker holder in case you're looking for it. And then she made me also, she does our stitch markers, and you can't really see it that well, but there's some new little stitch markers that I have. So I'll put a few of those up online in case anybody's interested in them. We have wood ones too, although I'm running low and I need to order more. So that was the little gift that came with the Fiber Club this month. So that was super fun. I'm happy with both of those. We talked about Romeldale versus Shetland. Okay, so this is gonna be quick, but let's talk about weaving for a minute. All you weavers out there, guess what? Kim wove something. Ready? Oh my gosh. What? I've been wearing this around the house, and I have to show you this too, but let me take this off and then it will remind me. I have been wearing this around the house. It's like my new just house thing to wear. I love it. Now, it's not perfect by any means, but it's my first project. And you know what? This did not take long. So, and this is yarns. So part of the reason I wanted to start weaving was that I love the idea that I can kind of bust through some yarn, because I don't buy a lot of yarn when I'm out. Like if I go to a yarn shop when I'm in a different town, I am looking for yarns that are made in the US, right? Because it's just what I do. So I'm looking for super unique yarns. And so I don't buy a lot, but what I do end up with, even no matter how much I randomly give away to my family and friends, is some of the rejects or from the mill, or the things that that just didn't, I have like one skein left of something. So that's what these were. These were some of my super early yarns, and I had like one skein of one and one skein. So, and you can see my edges, not great there, but I'm working on it and I love it. So here's what I want to talk about weaving. Not a whole lot, because I don't know anything. The things that I like from it, like I said, the ability to go through yarn a little bit faster, because this took me a couple of hours. And I know I'll get faster at it, although my second one, I think I'm going even slower, because I'm really trying to focus on learning that, how to do the edges a little bit cleaner. I wanted to be able to use yarn. Because I probably will start selling some of these, because I can't have all of this stuff. I just can't. It's just silly. So I wanted to be able to use up yarn and maybe put out an end product that I have fun making. It doesn't take me super long, and then I can then sell at a reasonable price. The fabric is so different. I mean, I just keep, even with my one, I just keep feeling, I'm like, it's so flat comparatively. The color play in weaving is like nothing, and I'll show you, I'll probably put up a picture of what I'm working on now. The skein, I'll put a picture up, so I'm gonna put a picture up while I'm talking, but this, so my, the warp is what is going up and down on, actually attached to the loom, and your weft is what's going side by side. So the warp on that is some yarn that I just had at home, that was mine, it's Ewethful yarn, but it was like a reject one, who knows why. Sometimes I look at them, I'm like, why did I reject this? I don't know, but it's in my reject pile. So that is just a natural colored, that's our Halsey yarn. The weft is a skein that I was just playing with in the dye studio, and it was hideous. I think it was hideous. And if I had knit with it, I think it was going to be hideous. But with that, with the weaving, the way the colors play through with that brown, I can't get over it. I mean, I honestly can't get over it. So that is amazing. It's quick. Like I said, it took me just a couple hours to do this. I actually like warping, which is when you have to get all those yarn, get the warp, you have to get the loom set up basically to start weaving, and it takes a bit, but I actually like it. I don't know, maybe that'll wane, but right now I like it. And yeah, so far that's all the things. I mean, I'm really having a good time with it. And I will say that I have a million times heard from people that are like knitters or crocheters or weavers that don't hand spin, and they've said, well, I kind of want to learn to hand spin, but I don't want it to, it's going to take away from my knitting time. Yes. The reality is, yes, it will. Because hopefully once you'll love it, right? So, but you know, I always think like, what if you'd never learned to knit because it was going to take away from your whatever craft you were doing before, painting or I don't know, crocheting or whatever it was you were doing before. That's how I feel about the weaving. Yes, I'm already knitting, and yes, I'm already spinning, and I don't know how to crochet except for some washcloths, and yes, the weaving's going to take some time away from them, but it's so, like, I love it all, and I'm loving this. And so what if I miss the opportunity just because I thought it was going to take away from something else that I love to do, right? What if we live our whole lives? Anyway, we could go down a rabbit hole with that, but I'm just saying, if you're interested in trying to learn something or do something new, just do it. because you might love it. Anyway, so that is my first weaving project. And weavers out there, I would love to hear from you in the comments about what is your #1 tip for beginning weavers. Like, what is that one thing that you're like, this is gonna help? Because I've been watching YouTube videos and how people do certain things, and my mom's giving me little tips here and there, but I would just love to hear from people that have been weaving for a while, or not a while, like what was the one thing that you think would really help a new weaver? So please comment below. Weavers, I know you're out there. And I wanted to show you this, which this is, because I'm wearing it. So this is 100% Shetland from this is the last project I got out of one of my sheep who has since gone to the other side. I don't know. It's in the rainbow. Tweedle, and he was my first sheep, and so this is something I made out of him. This is the Chic Chevron Shawlette. It's by Annetta Kaufman, and she is a designer up in Portland who I know and like personally anyway, but I love it. It's just like dainty and wonderful, and I actually end up tying everything, but I just wanted to show that off. And I don't have any of this specific weight Shetland yarn, but you know. The other thing before I forget that I was going to show is, and I have posted this on social media, but this is my new, I don't know if I can step back enough for you to see that it's a skirt. And this is, you've seen me talk about Revival clothing before. I just got this in the mail. It is my favorite little, it's wool, 100% wool, made in the USA by a small business, woman-owned. And I love it. So I wanted to show that off, and it's really lightweight wool, so I can wear it a lot of different seasons here in Oregon. And it has pockets. Okay, so we've talked about all that. Last thing I wanted to talk about was my trip to go see Dave. I didn't get to see his wife, but I saw Dave and all his animals at ZZ Alpacas, and I'll put a link. I don't think he sells any, he doesn't have product online, but you can reach out to him, and he's super nice and will help you in any way he can if you're looking for some product from him. But he, I met Dave probably about the time I opened the mill, I think, and I'm not sure how, I can't remember how we connected, but because it was before I had even done a festival. But when I first opened, I had a shop that was open regular hours, a couple days a week here attached to the mill. I've since shut that portion of it down for now. We do events and things here when it's not COVID time. But anyway, when I first opened it, we had his yarn here. And I think I just messaged him and was like, hey, I hear you've got local yarns. Would you like to consign them here at my shop? So we like met in a random parking lot. I don't think we'd ever met before. And he handed off quite a bit of yarn, which, you know, values up to a lot. And then we just kind of started knowing each other from there. And then we see each other at festivals. And of course, we haven't seen each other at festivals in a while. And one thing about Dave is that I swear at almost every festival, he comes up to me and says he's taking an animal home. Because he has a heart like this big, I think. Especially after spending time with him at his place. He's a funny guy. So that's how we met, and he has lots of alpaca fiber for sale, not necessarily his alpaca, but he buys from other alpaca farmers. And so I went up to alleviate him of the pain of having so much alpaca fiber, right? So he lives out, you know, it was like off a gravel road, and I pull up and Dave's sitting out in this huge storage container, you know, like the back of a truck storage container with the door open, and literally there was like a deer standing like 4 feet from him, and then this cute big cat, and then a storage full of alpaca fiber behind him. So he told me that they've been feeding the deer because they had some skin issues and they were just trying to make them healthier basically. And this was it was a doe, I suppose is what you would call it. Pretty young, and it hung out a bit while we were there. And then the cat, he said, just showed up at the farm one day and was pretty friendly, and there you go, now they have a cat. And as it turns out, majority, I think he said they have about 70 animals on their farm, and a lot of them just came from rescues. I think he said they ended up one year with 18 alpaca. That was from a neighbor who I believe was going to be prosecuted for animal neglect. And these alpaca were in very poor shape and needed a place. And guess where they went? So they have very big hearts, and they take care of a lot of animals. And him and his wife are both pharmacists, so this isn't just what they do. Like, they have a lot going on. Anyway, it was fun to see him, and I got to wander around the property with him and meet the animals, a few of which I was afraid of, I'm not gonna lie. His llamas were huge. They were massive. And he has one little Shetland that I'm gonna put a picture he sent me with his buddy Shetland, one little Shetland sheep who is a big jerk. And we all, you know, if you have animals, you know, sometimes they're just jerks. Even, and he wasn't a jerk to me, but he was a character of Shetland, let's just say that, and Dave just loves him. So I'll put a picture up of the two of them too. But it was really fun it's always fun to be around fiber people and inspiring and get to talk fiber and animals and all the things. And he also processes most of his own fiber. He doesn't do his yarn, but he does a lot of his own fiber. He has some mill equipment in his spare time between watching animals and being a pharmacist. So he does some milling himself. He also weaves, so he's got stunning rugs, which I'll put a couple pictures of. And I'm sure if you are interested in any of these things, he would help you however he could, via pictures, via text, whatever. So I'll put his contact information here. So we did a quick little video of the carding machine, because it's very different from my carding machine. And so anytime I get to see other people's equipment, you kind of geek out. And we got to, so anyway, I'm going to show you, I just was going to share now some of the pictures from the farm, little videos that I took, one or two while I was there, and then he sent me another one, and just kind of show you how different machinery can be. And obviously farms are so different. This is going to be very different from my farm or from other farms that I've shown. And anyway, I appreciated him coming up and letting me buy lots of alpaca, and also getting to see his place and having him share it with me. So anyway, here we will stop. I'll let you see a little bit about ZZ alpacas and what they've got going on, and then I'll be back to wrap this sucker up. Guys, I'm here with Dave Zanderberg, right? Zanderberg, dang it. Yeah. He's got ZZ alpacas and some pretty awesome product, but we're here looking at his carder, because that's always fun when you have a mill to look at other people's stuff. So Dave, where'd this guy come from?
Well, this carder was built during World War II, or right before World War II, in a town named after the mill. It's Whitin. There's a town called Whittenville, or Whitingville without the G, in Massachusetts, that had a huge mill, and then they started producing equipment for other mills as well. And it would have been a woolen mill making woolen uniforms, I guess, or wool for the war effort in World War II.
Yeah.
The machine ended up in Canada for some period of time, maybe 30 years or so. And then ended up in Minnesota in a mill that was reassembled with parts that ran for a couple of years, and then was lying dormant for about 2 years when it came here.
Nice.
On a Conestoga trailer. It weighs 8,000 pounds.
That's pretty awesome. Don't worry, guys. I got video of it running, so you can see very different from my equipment.
Yeah, this is not fooling around.
This is definitely not fooling around.
I mean, it's pretty cool. You can cover it up, like you can run it with these things down.
Safety, you mean?
Safety or dirt.
That's true.
I mean, those it had a cage. They're out in that.
Right.
God forbid I should use the cage. Well, we know some of those people.
Yes, this equipment, no matter what the size, is dangerous.
Well, because these things are really sharp, like the teeth on those claws.
If you accidentally get something near it, it will pick it up and pull it straight in there. So we are all very careful.
Yeah, the long sleeves are not good. We may as well pretend we know. turn it on.
See how she is.
Put the thing on. Just to show. Yeah, so if you didn't. Yeah, I think put a fleece on that conveyor belt. Just to let the battery spread out enough to
Right.
go in and not stay here. Or go over the top. This is going to pull out of the ground. Coming out?
Yep.
Does it look like it's going fairly easy?
It does.
You know, this is the thing. I don't have another machine, so it's kind of hard for me to tell. You know, you see how fast the stuff is going through?
Yeah. I was surprised how fast it picked it up.
Huh?
I was surprised by how fast it picked it up.
Yeah. Picks it up incredibly fast. Right? It's like it just comes right up.
There.
But it looks like a decent web, right?
Yeah, it does.
I don't know. You know, like you said.
Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed seeing just a little bit. I thought I had more footage of Dave's, but we were so busy talking and wandering and sharing that I forgot to take as much video as I wanted. But I think you got a good idea, and they're just super nice people. And if you're interested in any of Dave and if any of his products, I'll have links to contact him below, and he's super nice. And if you're looking for a rug or you're interested in buying yarn from him, he will make it happen. So feel free to contact him. And I think that's it. I thank you so much for joining me and for supporting me and for the orders that come in from all over the country, which is so amazing. And I'm so grateful for all of you. And there will be some new things. I'll have the new yarn up just in case you want to see it one last time. I will have this up. You know, there's always fibers. Andy will be up there, or there's stuff in there. And then one last thing I was going to put together was some trial packs of different breed fibers for hand spinners. So it'll just probably be 2 ounces, 1 or 2 ounces of a couple different breeds. So if you're looking just to try and have fun with something, but don't want to commit to spinning a lot of it, that's a great option for you. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. Everybody stay safe out there, stay healthy, wear your masks. Oh my gosh, if you're somewhere where it's cold and you don't have power, you're probably not watching me, but just stay safe, everybody. Summer is almost here. It's so close. So thank you so much for watching, and until next time, I'll be here.